Hi and welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since my last video, but I hope you're going to really like this easy no-sew junk journal I made. Today I'm going to make a junk journal using nothing but the scraps of paper that are currently on my desk. And there's absolutely no sewing involved. This is so quick and easy. This could literally just be an afternoon crafting project. All I need is a few papers and some glue. Now for the first page of my journal, I'm just going to glue this patterned paper onto some Amazon packaging paper. I'm just going to tear down the edge because I'm looking for a slightly rougher sort of feel to this junk journal. I'm just using a metal ruler just to help me tear this paper in a straight line. I'm not sure it's actually helping much though. I'm really not going for precise and accurate. I really want creased and torn pages in this journal. So I'm just going to tear up the edges a bit more. I really want to lean into the scrap paper feel of it. Now I need to find a second piece of paper just to attach to this first sheet. I like the look of these two floral papers together, that's perfect. Now I just need to find another piece of paper that I'm just going to use to glue these two sheets together. I quite like this brown sort of colour, but I'm not sure it works really well, so I'm just going to have a quick look and see if there's anything else I've got that might work slightly better. It's just a case of playing with papers and finding a combination that you like. There really is no right or wrong paper combination here. Now I'm just going to add glue all over the back of this blue sheet of paper. This is going to be my connecting piece. This is how I'll create the structure of the journal without having to sew signatures into spines. And I'm now just gluing it over the other two sheets. So that's now going to create our first double page spread. So as I fold it in half, you can see how our book is going to slowly develop. I'm now going to add another page to the journal using this brown strip of paper that I really liked before. So just repeating the process I used before, I'm just going to glue this strip of paper over the edges of these two pages. It's just a matter of repeating the process until there's enough pages. I find this kind of journal creating so much fun. You can literally just use any old bits of paper that you've got, and I love the fact that it doesn't have to be perfect. Here I'm just going to layer some papers again. So I'm just adding lots of glue and I'm just going to attach this floral paper onto my blue page. Hopefully you can see what it is I'm doing here and how I'm just slowly building up the journal pages. Obviously, it's the process that we're focusing on here. So if you feel that you need to make something that's very neat and perfect, you don't have to use torn up pieces of paper. You can use perfectly cut up sheets. So now I've got the next two sheets of paper that I'm going to use, and again I just need to find a strip of paper that I can use to join them together. Still loving that brown paper. Quite like this paper, but I think I'm just going to have to cut it down to size. I could just use it as is, but I think I'm just going to carry on with just using thinner strips. So I'm just going to cut it down. I want a slightly neater edge rather than the torn raw edges that I'm using for the main pages. Again, I'm just going to add plenty of glue. Hopefully you can see just how easy it is to create a journal this way. And it's a great way to use up all those scraps of paper that you may have lying around. I think it would also be interesting to use old envelopes or maybe old postcards to actually make up the pages of your journal. Don't be afraid just to experiment. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. I really love how this is coming together. It's perfectly imperfect. Don't forget, this is a junk journal after all. Now, I don't want any white pages in my journal, so I'm just going to add this floral paper over the top of the back of the last page that we created. I love old text and I love how it works with the floral papers. Now I'm just going to layer up papers for the page on the left. Now I'm actually just gluing down 3 sides of this sheet of paper. Now, as you can see in doing so, I've actually managed to create a little pocket here. Just going to attach my floral paper and my text paper together. So again, I just need to add lots of glue to my strip of paper. I'm just struggling to line these two up. Um, there we go. I think I've just about got it. Again, I'm not going for perfection here. The charm of this journal really is in its imperfections. When creating a journal like this, you'll probably discover that you start putting together papers that you would never normally choose to put together, but in some strange way, it just seems to work. This has got to be one of the simplest ways of making a junk journal, I think. And the effects that you get just from the different layers of paper, I absolutely love it. If you've never made a junk journal this way, I really think you should give it a try. Now I'm just going to keep going, just adding more pages. This process of creating a junk journal is also great for those who are new to junk journaling. It's just a brilliant way of creating that first journal. And as I said at the beginning of this video, it's such a quick process. You really can make a beautiful junk journal in an afternoon. So I'm just continuing to repeat the process, just adding more pages. Now, the papers I'm using today were actually part of a kit that I created for my Patreon members. So thank you to all the people that support me. It really does make a difference. But you can just use any papers that you happen to have lying around. Once again, I'm not trying to go for perfection here. Now, because I've been working on some Easter themed digitals recently, I happen to have some giant Polaroid style images on my desk. So, as I'm using up scraps of paper and whatever I happen to have lying around, I'm going to use this for the cover of my journal. If you don't know what I'm doing here, I'm just using a sanding block just to kind of scruff up the edges of my image a bit. This is a very simple but really good aging technique. It's perfect for when you want that kind of battered old paper feel. Just be aware that this will only really work on slightly thicker paper. Normal standard printer paper, it's not really going to work. And now, just to add to that battered old look a bit more, I'm just going to ink up the edges. I'm being really careful not to overdo it here. I'm really sort of focusing on the corners. I just want to kind of emphasize those curled corners. I just want to add some extra layers to the cover of my journal. I'm just playing with a bit of an idea here. I want to have a kind of feel of peeling layers of paper. Now, this blue paper is literally just going to peek out from underneath the Easter themed Polaroid, but it will also act just to strengthen the cover a bit. So I think the way in which this is evolving, that I'm going to use this as an Easter or spring themed mini journal. You'll notice there's no planning involved with creating this journal. It literally is a case of just play and experiment and create as you go along. If something doesn't work, you can always glue another piece of paper over the top. You're always just looking for that happy accident and just discovering the different effects that you like. It's quite interesting that what I'm managing to create here, sort of layered, tattered edges to my cover, which I really quite like. Now I'm just going to glue down my Easter image. Now I need to add quite a bit of glue here, but when I stick it down, I do actually want sort of the corners to not be quite glued down, so it looks slightly like it's peeling away. It's quite satisfying at this point just to have a quick flick through just to see how the journal's coming together. Now I'm just going to keep working on this for a bit, just adding more pages. So here's my journal. I've just added a little bit of ribbon around it to keep it closed. I've added another Easter journaling card, just tucked it underneath this envelope flap at the top here. I've also added a few more bits of scrap paper around the edges, and I'm starting to fill my journal just with a few little images and things, but it's pretty much ready to use now. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye for now, and I'll see you in the next video.